Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. Firstly, a huge shout out to all of our American subscribers out there. Welcome to Africa, and to our European subscribers out there also. Welcome again back to South Africa. You guys colonized us once before, but this time if you're trying to colonize us again, please come through. You know what, you can use Waterkloof Air Base as a landing strip. You don't need to come down with a ship. And while you are coming down, maybe you can bring some pillars with you, some E30 pillars, maybe some BBS RS, maybe some dishes, some hardware, some BBS hardware as well. Yeah, welcome back to the channel. Jokes aside, as you can see behind me, we have our E30 M3, and this is part 2 of the video that we have installed for you guys today. But in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit more about the alignment, where we are on the car itself, and also what still needs to be done in order for it to be complete. Just as you guys are anxious to see the final product, so are we. But in any case, I'm going to take you guys through where we stopped off from the last video. So if you haven't checked the last video, check that out. I highly encourage you to do so. And maybe together we can learn a thing or two as to what have we done so far. It's a big learning curve for me as well. I'm no body expert and I'm no panel expert as well, but the guys who are here, they are the experts, and I've picked up quite a bit of tricks, a couple of tips here and there. But without further ado, let's roll the clip onto what has been done. So what we're doing right now is, you can see there's a chain leading from the top going all the way to the bottom, and this is just to reinforce the chassis. The reason being is we're aligning the door as we speak, and we'll see the process of how everything needs to align up and things like that there. So if you are planning on doing it from home and you want to do a good job, you need things like this here, you need tools like that, just this multitude of tools and different things like that there. So best you either get somebody to do it or we'll do it for you, but I wouldn't suggest doing this at home. This is not one of those DIYs where it will just happen like that overnight. So we're just setting up the hydraulic jack, and you can see one is situated there at the bottom, and the other is going to be situated on the top somewhere around there. Now the reason for this is that the door is not sitting straight, so we're going to be pushing that side up of the frame so that this side here will push down, and in so pushing down it will actually push the door. The door would actually come down like that there. So we did it on this particular door already. Now we're going to do it on the passenger side as well. So now we jack it, so we create pressure, and as the pressure creates, you can see it pushing up onto the frame itself. So how do we know how much of pressure to apply, Peter? How do we know how much of pressure to apply?
The pressure is always the same, as long as you keep on jacking it,
Yeah,
bit by bit,
yeah.
and you try the door to see if the door is already aligned. Then if not, if it needs to be jacked a little more, then you jack it.
A little more.
Because now I'm dropping it.
So so what you're saying is we'll do a little test fit, and then we'll see.
Because now, you see, it's gone already.
So if we look at the gap here,
Yeah, it was very big, and now
it's yeah. How's this here? So see this gap and see that there.
it means it's gone so much now.
Okay.
Let me adjust it.
And then how's it looking on the side?
Inside is looking alright.
So did we come down by the couple of millimeters that we needed to?
You see, it did.
It did come down.
It did come down.
So if we look at this line here, then this line.
Remember, we had a big gap here, but it's gone inside here.
Yeah.
So what we are doing, we are dropping up the center frame to line up with this.
To line up with
now
this, yeah.
it has just gone a bit much.
Yeah.
So I have to jog it the other way.
So,
Sure.
so if we take, I don't know, do we have something?
Like what?
Keep the door closed there. If we use this here, let's just use this here, right? Use this as a guide. I know it's not the most accurate, but we'll be able to determine.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to open the door so.
So I still think we have to come down by about 1 millimeter.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're adjusting the door slightly, or we're adjusting the frame slightly to accommodate for that 1 millimeter gap that we still have there at the bottom. Unfortunately, we cannot move this panel any much further down. This is the furthest or the lowest it can go. So now we have to, I would say, panel beat or structurally move the door little bit down so that we have even gaps on the top as well as even gaps on the side and the bottom as well, and in so doing try and match the lines to these lines on the body itself. So you can see the jack applying pressure on either side, and as you pump, the hydraulic fluid fills on the inside and fills up this particular chamber. This chamber then applies pressure here, this pressure then applies onto the block, and so forth, and in so doing you then adjust the alignment of the door itself. So we're just done jacking. Now you can see this gap is pretty much spot on to this one here. Peter, we're happy with this gap here? We're happy with that gap here. Okay. This here we'll sort out with,
This will sort out with the glue
and stuff like that there. And here on top. So remember, there's a trim piece that comes here.
Yeah.
So if we look at this gap, if I run my finger here, okay, so here's it a bit tight on that side there. So now we'll have to adjust. So we'll continue adjusting, readjusting, and then until we're happy. All of the stuff has been put into place, and you kind of can get a sense of the alignment that's required. I want to show you something. So on the bumper itself, on the inside of the bumper, you will see there is no sort of bracketry, nothing, either on the left hand side nor in the middle. So what this requires is for us to actually make a bracket in order for the top part of the bumper to sit level. On the sides, we're not really concerned, because reason being is we can pop a speed nut here and mount this to the panel itself. At the bottom as well, we can do another speed nuts as well. So the main concern was the middle of the panel. The front, what we've for the rear, what we've done is we've fabricated these particular panels as just as a template. We'll neaten it up and put the inserts, but this is just as a panel itself. This is just for the panel itself. So the bumpers actually reside on here. So if you look on this side here, for those of you that are going to be buying the kit, this is something you would need to make itself. Now fortunately enough for us, what was on the car, if you remember from the previous videos, is that we had a toe bump, a toe hook that was situated just here. So that gave us, somebody's already drilled the holes here, so that gave us holes already for us to utilize in order to get the bumper aligned. Now initially it started off to be way too high, so what you would do is you would kind of make your hole so you wouldn't make a static hole like this here. What you would do is you would make a hole that's kind of elongated like this here, or is this vertical, or vertical. You would make a vertical hole going down so that you can actually slide this up and down to get the alignment of the bumper just perfect. I'm not going to take out the complete bumper from the front itself because we're still busy with the car, but we've done the exact same on the front of the car itself. What we've done is we've created these brackets with a vertical slot on the inside so we can adjust it up and down as a template. Once we have the final location of where and how these brackets will sit, we will then do the exact same thing here on the front. We'll make a neat bracket, and we'll powder coat it and things like that there. But where you can see it resides on the stiffener that sits here. So that's another thing that you would need to make. To make these things are very, very easy. Now the other consideration that we have is that because we're using fiberglass panels, now I would have loved to have done majority of the car in steel, but what I did was I used those to make some of the molds, and where we couldn't, we needed to obviously source fiberglass parts. But in order to use fiberglass parts, the structure and integrity of the car becomes compromised because you're cutting a lot of the metal work away. And what we realized is we need to build an inner roll cage on the car that wouldn't be seen firstly, but will also create structural support. Now, we're not going ultra lightweight on the car and things like that there. So a good quality roll cage on the inside is critical in order for that to take place, in order for the car to be structurally sound. But in so doing, it's going to add weight to the car, which we don't really mind. We're not chasing speed, we're not chasing records, we're just chasing a darn outright good looking E30 M3, but that's going to be safe on the road as well. So where we noticed or how we're going to do the roll cage itself, I'll take you through that now. But this is something for those of you that are also going to be doing this particular project or want us to do the project for you. This is what is required in order for you to actually achieve that structural support for the car. I've just taken out the boot. You can see the detail of the boot on the inside is pretty cool, because reason being is you can still mount your tray for your tools here. It has the supports and structures on the inside, so the boot I'm not really too concerned about. It's here on the inside where I'm concerned about. As you can see, we needed to cut out this entire frame here. So this entire frame needed to be cut out, as well as the support, the original support. Now, from a rubber point perspective, here we would have needed to meet up with, right? And we would obviously need to meet the contours of the new panel, as well as the C-pillar that goes on the top. So these things are temporary cuts in order for us to make this one complete unit. But on the inside where the structure is actually required is here. So you can see we cut out the structures there, we cut out there at the bottom as well. So the idea, what we're going to be doing is we're going to build a frame that will run all this way, right? That will run around, come here, come around. So we'll have one frame that sits on the top. We will then have an X brace to brace this particular point, so for this and this part here of the original car to meet up, and we'll do the same on this particular side here, brace from there all the way down there. So we'll create a structure on the inside that won't be visible, because why, there's still panels that needs to go on the inside. However, from an integrity standpoint, the car will be structurally sound. The same would then apply on the inside of the door itself. We'll create some sort of pillar that will run from down there all the way there and there and there. So we'll do that from this particular panel's perspective, as well as from this panel's perspective here as well. So what we'll do is we'll create one sort of running like that, and then one that runs like that there as well. Front of the car, there's not much structural support that's actually required in the front. Majority of the work needs to be done at the back itself. But what we would have to do is put the fender linings on the inside here, which we do have. And those of you that are wondering, this is one of the original parts that we have got from the car itself. As you saw in the beginning of the video, we were aligning the panel gaps. You can have a look at the lines that have been, or how we've achieved it. So you can see the line going here meets exactly. This gap is pretty much solid because it's pretty much flush there. The gap is consistent. The gap on the top is consistent as well, and here on the side is consistent, and both passenger side and driver side is exactly the same. So the kit itself is designed quite cool in that here you'll see there is a gap. So if I lift this up a little bit, you can see this recess that here, this is where the C-pillar needs to reside upon. So you can see it gives you a guide as to where and how it needs to go. You just need to trim down and trim across here. And then another thing is you need to get this gap between the C-pillar and your rear quarter panel. You need to get it sort of, you know, consistent both left and right hand side of the car itself. Then here what you use as a guide is actually the top. So there's inserts that goes on the inside to cover this particular part up. Let me see if I can find an insert for it. So I think this is this insert that goes here somewhere. So you can see the groove. You can see there's a cutout here. So this particular thing would obviously slot in like this to complete it. So you can see it's completed on the inside. There's another one that goes here on the top. Let me find that one. So this is it here. This long piece like this, and this would sit on the inside like that. So this is just rough to show you. So you can see there, that will meet up with that, and obviously the line, and then you have the one that goes down there at the bottom, and your panel beater or whoever will spray the inside of the C-pillar on there. So that gives you that holistic look. Now you can see why the normal window is not going to work on the car. The reason being is that this is where your normal window would have been here, but now your C-pillar attaches to it as a guide. So you use that guide, and then you would have a new window from this point up until this point here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this particular video. I think the video is like 10 minutes, but this was like 2 days of solid work to get everything aligned. You can see we used some nuts here and bolts. These are just to hold it into place for now so that we can get the alignment, and then once we remove it and put it back on, we use these holes as a guide to tell us how the panel should sit. So there's some other bolts there, there's bolts there, and so forth. So what I can tell you is that if you are planning on doing this particular build, you're going to be doing outer panels, you're going to be doing paint work, you're going to be doing preparation work, spraying work, and so forth. But on top of that, you're also going to be doing interior work as well, because you can see we're removing the headliner as well in order to get access to some of the panels that lies or the headliner would cover from that perspective. To celebrate our 500 subscribers on the channel itself, I'm gonna be giving away this Nadi steering wheel, whether it's original, non-original. I have no shit. I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue whether it's original or non-original. This is the steering wheel itself. Comes quite neatly wrapped. There's some instructions on the inside. So we will be giving away this particular steering wheel to one lucky subscriber. So all you have to do to win this particular steering wheel is, one is subscribe to our Instagram account. So follow us on Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment below on our Instagram page on the post for this particular video. Comment in that particular post why you need this steering wheel in your life. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Cheers, peace.